Hi, so before I begin my speech, I want to show you guys my audience. So I have 2 on FaceTime and 1 in person. Alright, so hello everyone, my name is BB Yang, and in this speech I will be talking to you about people who face eviction during the pandemic. I was wanting to inform my listeners about how the Americans went through evictions when the pandemic was here. Because of the pandemic affecting Americans, it was causing them to unable to pay their rent. Michelle Collins stated as many as 28 million people could be evicted in coming months, according to Emily Beffner, a visiting law professor at Wake Forest University who is the co-creator of Princeton University's Eviction Lab, a national research center on evictions. That's nearly triple the estimated 10 million Americans who lost their homes during the years after the 2008 mortgage crisis. Many people lost their employment because of the COVID-19, leaving them unable to pay their rent. It was a difficult moment for the numerous folks who were evicted. It is crucial to understand what the tenants endured when they were being evicted. The topic connects to me personally because I knew a few people who dealt with the eviction, and I always found it interesting with how the renters dealt with what they were going through with the process. I have done a lot of research on facing evictions during the pandemic on the internet, so it's important for me to inform others on what happened. First, I will describe the eviction during COVID-19. People were not able to pay their rent, having little income or no income at all. So for second, I will examine how tenants were helped during COVID-19, such as the CARES Act that was passed. Third, I will discuss the aftermath of eviction during COVID-19, such as the federal rent moratorium ending. From living in a normal world to experiencing the pandemic, people face evictions. People were not able to pay rent due to having little income or no income at all. Research done by Marissa Penloza at NPR shows that because of the coronavirus epidemic, more than 30 million filed for unemployment. After accounting for seasonal adjustments, first-time claims for unemployment benefits reached 3.8 million in the week ending April 25th. The epidemic has wreaked damage on the economy, with restaurants, merchants, and business of all types closing their doors to stop the spread of the virus. Research done by Priya Boghani at PBS Frontline shows that during the peak of COVID-19 in 2020, federal and local governments implemented eviction moratoriums, protecting an estimated 1.1 to 2 million U.S. households from the fear of losing their homes. So far, you have learned the eviction during COVID-19. I will examine how the tenants were helped during the eviction. So during the eviction, the CARES Act was passed into law on March 27, 2020, which aimed to assist individuals, families, and organizations that were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. A December 8, 2020 article in PBS Frontline said that the impact of record high unemployment was reduced in April by a government economic aid package known as the Coronavirus Aid and Economic Security Act. Individuals who qualify received a $1,200 stimulus check. Married couples received $2,400 stimulus check, and those with children earned an extra $500 per kid. The federal government paid an extra $600 per week to anybody who successfully applied for unemployment. Priya Boghani from PBS Frontline quoted, Columbia researchers estimated that without the support provided by the CARES Act, poverty in April would have had jumped to 19.4%. With the support, the month ended at 13.9%. Researchers estimated 18 million people were lifted out of poverty in April by the federal package relief. Research done by Maya Brandon at U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the authors conclude that the CARES Act had a favorable impact, raising median household resilience from 31 weeks to 46 weeks. The impacts varied according to economic level, demographic group, and geographic location. Finally, we learned about the past of facing eviction COVID-19. I will discuss the aftermath of eviction during COVID-19. After the federal moratorium ended, some states were still protected under that, but some states, such as New York, expired. Thousands of low-income New Yorkers who were behind on their rent requested assistance from an emergency rent relief program a week after a pandemic era moratorium on evictions ended, showing that many more households are at risk of losing their homes. With the government moratorium ending, many Americans were having trouble making ends meet. Everyone was concerned about losing their house. Landlords were able to file evictions notices on their tenants, but couldn't push people out of their homes yet. So as you can tell on this graph, there was a big drop when the federal moratorium was in place, but when the moratorium ended, evictions suddenly started to rise up because landlords started to file evictions on their tenants. Because of the pandemic affecting Americans, it was causing them to unable to pay their rent. In conclusion, COVID-19 had an impact on many Americans. Many Americans had job losses, which led to risking evictions. The implementation of the CARES Act and the federal moratorium encouraged Americans to make their payments on time. All Americans were greatly affected by COVID-19. Thank you.